What's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of Music in the Minor League. This week we're back with Galveston-based singer-songwriter Tex Renner. He has a new album called 44 and an 88 that's coming out this weekend. His CD release show will be on Saturday. That will be May 17th. You're hearing this on the 14th. Tickets are available now at oldquarteracousticcafé.com. We've known Tex for a long time. He's kind of one of those songwriters that's always around, supports everybody. We love supporting him. He writes some killer songs, stellar harmonica player, all around just good person that we dig hanging with. And when we saw he had a new album coming out, we made him sit down and talk to us. He says he's shy, but we didn't see that during our podcast. But luckily the new album made him sit down and talk to us. But before we get to the conversation, we got some housekeeping to go through. First thing up, if you dig the podcast, make sure you share the link with a friend, get things up. Spotify's been changing all sorts of weird stuff about how to do their metrics, so things have been dropping here, coming up there. It's just been strange. So we're having a hard time seeing how far people are pushing this out. So we appreciate you taking the time to share and get some friends to listen. That's really the best way you can help support independent music. We don't make any money or run any ads off of this. Our thing is to promote our scene and our community and the bands we dig. B, if you're one of the bands that would like to be a part of this, you can hit us up via our social media pages or email or however you can get a hold of us. We'd love to talk to you about being on the podcast. Our only prerequisite is that you do have music released. Finally, if you want to see Brightwire, well, the first place you're going to see us is Kim and I will be singing back up on Texas song Big Old Pile of Trash on Saturday at the album release party. And then past that, on May 31st, we'll be playing at Rehab Bar on the Bayou over in the Heights. We'll be playing with Kerosene Stars, man. We've been digging them. So we hope you'll come out and hang with us. Other than that, man, we're laying low. I mean, June 7th, we'll be out at Fredonia Brewing in Nacogdoches, Texas. And then on June 14th, we're going to be at Union Tavern with Shame on Me. That's going to be a full band show. We're really excited. It's our first Houston area full band, full show. So we hope y'all come hang out for that. Then we're going to be hanging out until our July tour, but we won't talk about that until later. So let's just get through it. Coming up, we have one of our favorite songs that Tex has written that's on the new album, again called 44 and an 88. This song's called Indian Pony, and we'll see you with a conversation on the other side.
All down through the chronicles of Texas lore, countless yarns have been spun round the Comanche and the great unshod remuda of the Comancheria. Survivors of some long-forgotten conquistadors' hapless cavalry, grown strong and feral, thriving across the western range. These Indians, these Indian ponies, oftentimes have been cited as being among the truest examples of mutual respect and cooperation anywhere down here in our natural world. And she kept me unbroken like an Indian pony, proud and wild and free. And she knew that she could make me go anywhere that she wanted to, oh, but she'd tie no reins onto me. And we'd ride in the morning meadows, all fresh with the sparkling dew. But when I chose to take some bramble path, she was there to salve my wounds. And she kept me unbroken like an Indian pony, proud and wild and free. And she knew that she could make me go anywhere that she wanted to, but she'd tie no reins onto me. And I loved her the moment I met her, that love it will forever be. Now I pray someday I may be with her again, till the end of eternity. She kept me unbroken, like an Indian pony, proud, wild, free. Right now in misty memory dreams, in fertile valleys all clover sweet, and the music of her laughter, it still fills my heart with every beat. She kept me unbroken, like an Indian pony, proud and wild and free. And she knew that she couldn't make me go anywhere that she wanted to, but she would tie no reins onto me.
All right, y'all, welcome to another episode of Music in the Minor League. Today we are here with our good friend, fellow coastal musician, and all-around good guy, Mr. Tex Renner. We've known Tex for, I don't know how long I've known Tex. I just know that hanging around the Old Quarter, Tex has been around as long as I can remember. And he's one of the best harmonica players I've ever seen. Just an all-around great person who comes out, writes killer songs, and he has a brand new record coming out soon called, was it a 44 and an 88?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right, I got it right.
Nice. I'm glad of that.
So, man, thank you for coming to talk to us, and tell us a little bit about the new record you got coming out.
Well, I just wrote this very first song on it is called Indian Pony, and it was what got me started really writing songs. Or it's the first one I ever wrote that I thought was really pretty good. You know, I was home on family leave when my first wife was sick with cancer, and wrote a song about our relationship, you know, and tried to make it something a little bit universal so it wouldn't just be about us. Mm-hmm. But that's what got me started with it.
How old were you? How old were you?
How old was
like
I?
20s, 30s?
That happened. I was 50 something, I think 51, maybe just 49. I was pretty young back then.
So you'd just been kind of dabbling in songwriting before that?
Yeah, I drove Highway 290 for the whole time that they constructed it, and there was a lot of sitting in traffic, just inching along, and I got so tired of listening to the radio. A lot of times I would make up songs as I was driving along there, but I've looked them up in my notebooks, and a lot of them didn't really turn out that good after all.
It seemed like a good idea at the time.
It was a lot of fun. It was great exercise, But
There you go. Great
I actually
exercise.
had songs of ours like Last Night in Kansas from the last record I wrote a million years ago, and I was stuck in traffic and just started kind of coming up with a song to be a smart ass, because I used to be in a band called the Wayward Sons. This guy asked if we were a Kansas cover band. It's like, I'm gonna write a song called Kansas, and people ask Kansas if they're like a Wayward Sons cover band. And,
that's good.
Ha ha ha. It was just a bad joke, and then I wrote this really depressing like narrative, and I was like, wow, this is actually like a real song. How the hell do I call it that? So, man, those traffic stops are great.
Did you have to rewrite it when you dug it back up?
No, I mean, I literally came home and was just like, walked in the house, and everyone's like, "How? Like, don't talk to me. Like, I have this song in my head. I have to go write it down right now." Like, I have like, when you're driving, like, even with my own handwriting, it was like, I can only read like every third word.
Yep.
So it's just like, it's like if you saw my notes from today and we were coming down the Old Quarter. By the way, we're recording this live at the historic Old
I was
Quarter.
wondering if you were going to mention that.
I did. I just thought about that, but I was writing these notes, and like Kim would hit a bump, he'd be like, "Shh!" Like, I don't know what that says, but I'm not rewriting it. So and that's kind of like that. So got home and just wrote it down. I'll never forget. I'm like, okay, and then my ex-wife and my daughter turned on Grease, like hit play where they were at in the song. So I was like, I'm like, oh God, no! Like, I'm trying to go lock myself in the bathroom to be far enough away from them.
God.
But yes, that's it. So I mean, I can completely relate to the traffic inspiring songs, especially for me, it was like more heartfelt, sad songs. I was stuck in traffic.
Right.
Well, I've written several since then in the passenger seat. When Gayla was driving, when we'd go on vacations, we used to take our grandson on long car trips every summer. It was just gobs of fun.
I bet.
When he was 6 or 7, we took him to California and let him get in the Pacific Ocean. He was amazed how cold it was.
Hell yeah. You don't realize that. Like, you step like, whoa, what the hell is this? It's summertime.
No, this is bath water out here. It's like, damn.
It's like both coasts are that way. You realize you get legit ocean water, like, it's cold.
This is sad. I don't like it as much.
We both oceans, I've had my toe in it, and that's as far as it went. Like, well, turn it around. We did it. Let's leave.
But there's sharks out there and those things. I mean, I'll go in a lake a little ways, up past my knees sometimes, but not the ocean. I don't need all that.
I've seen Jaws. I know how it ends.
Yeah.
See, man, growing up on the coast, I remember swimming out till you could hardly see the beach.
No, that's scary as hell.
Just like when we grew up so we had like this no fear. Then right about 20, when I had my first kid, I was like, that's dangerous. Like, y'all don't go that far out. Like, we were out finding like 3rd, 4th sandbar out there.
Good God, man.
Oh yeah, by the time you swim in with the tides, like, you're probably 3 miles from where you got in.
Jacques Cousteau's like, hey, bud, what's going on?
Hour after walking with all the salt water and sand, like, all your inner thighs are just bloody from like walking so far. Beach is great.
Right. You're really selling me on this experience.
No, you don't want to do that. Be
That
safe.
childhood that you experienced, though, is what made me first become a Sam Barker fan, was when I heard the song Crystal Beach. That one still blows me away. I love that song.
You're right. No, it's great.
That's awesome. We're not here to talk about Sam.
I know. I
will say the first time.
Oh, well, yeah, but the song Indian Pony, we were talking about something that's a tie-in there. I forgot what it was, but I wrote the intro to it because I was so tired of telling everybody about the tragic, circumstances that I wrote the song with, and that's where that whole little dissertation at the beginning of it comes from, about the Comanches and all that.
I love that. That's the first time I ever heard you perform that. I was like, oh, this dude's like he's for real.
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah. And you tell that story. I know you say the same words every time, but like the passion that you have when you relate the story, and then you go into the song, and I'm just like, this is so beautiful. It's so gorgeous.
Well, I'd been reading Larry McMurtry a long time,
Nah, that's one of those songs, first time you hear it, you're just like, damn, okay, yeah, that's real. But then you wrote a bunch of other great songs. We got to bring it back around to us, We did get to sing on one of the songs, so I'm really happy.
Yeah, you did. I'm real
Thanks for
proud of
asking.
that one. Y'all are going to be here for the release, aren't you? The CD
We will
release?
be. That's in.
Absolutely will be.
When this is released, it will be 3 days later. So, when you're hearing this, get ready to go buy your tickets at oldquarteracousticcafe.com, or it's easier just do a Google search for Old Quarter and click on the first link.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you got to type as many letters.
True.
We'll get to hear him perform all those songs from a 44 and an 88.
So
yeah.
So you started out with Indian Pony, and then are there, tell us about some of the other songs that you got on there, things that you're working.
The one that's called Jasper Kid on the record, it's had several titles. I guess all songs are like that, huh?
Yeah.
Down through the years. But Jasper Kid was one I wrote in the passenger side coming back from California, because we were supposed to write a murder ballad, I think was what that one was. It was a song prompt for sure. And we passed a little ghost town in the Sierra Nevadas that was called Bodie, California. And it made me start thinking about the gold rush and all that stuff. And so that's where that song came from, was riding in the passenger side and trying to make up a song prompt. Do you do many of those song prompts?
I do. Oddly enough, our new record we're working on now, I think 2 of those came from Rebecca's song prompts.
Yeah, I have not been able to come up with one of those yet. I do like song prompts. I think they're a great idea.
Oh, yeah. Do you work with other songwriters a lot? Like, were you down here when we were doing the song prompt stuff at Old Quarter?
Yeah.
I think it's a good way to, like you said, exercise, that
Yeah,
muscle.
several of them just didn't turn out worth a flip.
Yeah, that's all of them, though. Not all. They can't all, what did you always say, babe? They can't all be winners.
Yeah.
Well, that's true. Some of them, you just got to write them so you can be done with it and move on.
Yeah, get them out of your head.
Oh, yeah. And sometimes it's just ones that you come back to later and you're like, there's a few salvageable lines. And it's like one day down the road, you're like, wait a minute. If I fix these 4 or 5 lines, like this could turn into a real song.
What I would love to do someday is to collaborate with somebody. Chris Olsen's the only person I've ever collaborated with successfully on anything so far, but I'm going to keep trying. I haven't, right now, I was telling my wife, I think I'm really a songwriter right now.
I wrote them all.
I'd like to be a songwriter again, but so far that hadn't been much working out.
It is funny though. Like I always tell people, and people think it's kind of like a joke, but every time you finish a song, I'm like, oh God, that may be it. Like I hope that's not it.
Right. Yeah.
Because then you're like, okay, I wrote a song. I'll sit down tomorrow and come up. And you're like, there's nothing there. I'll play like a riff, which luckily that's been helping with Kim recently. I think that's one good thing about having 2 people, and that's maybe a thing like, here, I've come up with this chord progression, and you're like, oh, I hear some words. So that's always a big thing that helps, because like where Kim's like, okay, I think I got something that I hear a song in there, and where I'm just like playing some chords mindlessly around the house, and she's like, I hear something in that. Keep playing it.
I like that riff.
That's what Mickey White says that Townes Van Zandt did all the time, was just, he'd find chords he liked and play them over and over until words started falling into them. I think that it really makes sense. That way you don't keep writing the same tune and have to fix that part of it when you want to do the song again.
That's one of my favorite parts of the Tom Petty documentary, Running Down a Dream, where he was showing the waiting, and he's like, I'm just sitting there all weekend with an acoustic and playing that opening walk down over and over, and he's like, I just can't think of anything. I can't think of anything. And then finally he's like, the waiting. He's like, okay. And then it was like, hour later the song's done.
Wow.
But he's like, I literally spent an entire weekend just like playing. I want to say he said 4 days, but I may be wrong. But he's like, I just kept playing it like repeatedly. Like, I love this riff, and I keep playing it. It took until the words popped in. They don't all just come right to you. Sometimes you got to sit there and be like, strumming the chords. But
that was how I made up Lazy Morning, was just I had found some chords I liked, and I was thinking about what Mickey had said and playing the harmonica, and it just worked out. And, it could have had something to do with the indica too there that morning. But it worked out pretty good that day,
gives you the patience to stay there and keep trying.
Right.
So how long have you been trying? Like, when did you start writing? Or have you always been writing just other things?
I guess I wrote one for my cousins when we went on a family vacation all together up in Kerrville, at a place called Camp Maddox we used to go to a lot up in Kerrville. And a long time.
Long time.
It went dun, 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 like that.
That's awesome.
That was kind of popular at the time.
Well, I was saying, but you did play music with people before, I guess.
Yeah, I had, but I just don't think any of it was very mature. It's a good thing I didn't really start out when I was in my 20s. They were all very self-centered.
Well, it's how you should be when you're young. It's all like, all I know is me.
Yeah, it's all about me.
So I guess that'd be a good question is like, what led you to like start really sitting down and playing music more? I mean, did you always have guitars around the house or did you?
I did, and I always wanted to be a singer, a front man. And so I was always putting together garage bands. I had gotten hold of a really nice Rogers or Pearl, I think it was a Rogers drum kit with a big bass drum, great big bass. So I put that in my garage, and I could always get a drummer to come over and sit in with the band. And then one of my best buddies was a kind of a attention deficit disorder bass player who could get through almost the whole song.
I can relate to that. What? Don't laugh. It's true. Where I'm like, what's that dude doing? So I understand that mindset.
Oh man, yeah.
Whenever we walk into a place that we're playing and I see TVs, I'm just like, oh God. No.
We tell the bar to turn them off if they're facing
Turn
him.
off the TV.
He can't see it or it'll be terrible. Did you see that commercial? That was funny. It was pretty good.
Dude, I think that one day that you like really botched it was, you got distracted by Danny DeVito in a commercial.
Oh yeah, he was in the Jimmy John's commercial.
Yeah.
No,
Jersey
I'm sorry,
Mike's.
Jersey Mike's commercial. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. And we're going there. Yeah.
Oh no, I just meant that's funny that you say commercials because that's what happened.
This is the out Sam.
Well, no, it's just great.
podcast.
Like, but it really is like the way that it's hard to keep your attention on the task at hand. There's so much entertaining things happening
Right.
around you at a music venue.
That's why I always look down, buddy.
Are they going to fight? Like, you know. Well, I try to close my eyes sometimes, but then I'm like every picture I have my eyes closed. And I'm like, oh no, I look like I'm sleeping through the whole set.
I think that's like just a hazard of being a guy who plays guitar is that's always in the background and you're doing other things. You're singing, you're talking, and you're distracted by a commercial.
A singer that plays their own guitar, any at all, is actually a multi-instrumentalist.
Definitely.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
And then you add in the harmonica, and I just want to.
Well, I don't sing and play the harmonica.
Be cool if he did though.
I heard Terry, what's her name? Terry Hendricks, isn't it? Was playing with Lloyd Maines here, and she did.
Oh wow.
It was more kazoo-ish almost, but while she did the harmonica, I thought that's cool. I really
never
need
heard
to
that.
try and figure it out and see if I can't do something with that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
When did you? I guess that's a good question, man. 'Cause I mean, really, songs are good, and everything, but like seeing you sit with other people, like you're a pretty great harmonica player. Like, is that something you picked up later, or
just natural? As far as I can tell, that's the only way to learn a harmonica. I go to this COPD group, or I've been there once now, but I've been invited for a month and a half, and trying to teach them how to play the harmonica. They're trying to teach each other how, and they've got charts on it and everything. But I can curl my tongue, and it just came natural to me to move it around to the different holes, and you do it a bunch of times, and it's just intuitive then, But to me, it's like whistling. You can either do it or you can't do it.
yeah?
True.
Uh-oh.
And you're all in one key. You're not going to hit anything on that harmonica that's not in the key that you're playing in.
That was another thing I
helps.
had to find out is that's why they wrote keys on them, because there was a guy here on the island, real sweet guy, tipped real good, but he'd stand out in the audience at an open mic like at Sharky's or something, just tooting away on his harmonica.
I know the guy you're talking about. Yes.
Dude, that's the wrong one. Oh no, they're all good.
There's a letter on it, so it's in the key. True, sir. True.
Those days when it was in the right key, it was magic.
He was a good tipper. It was always magic.
Remember we did that one time we were playing Lukenbach, Texas, and this dude was like an old band, and he's like playing harmonica in the audience, and we're like, dude. Because we're like, he probably knows what he's doing. And he got up, and it was a totally different key, and it was just noise. But it won a bunch of people in the audience like, yeah! And which that's where I learned, like, no one hears my mistakes.
Nope.
They thought that was great, and it was like, oh God.
Exactly.
I was at a place called The Shed barbecue joint in Mississippi somewhere, and it's a blues place, and they had a stage there with a mic, and nobody was using it, so I asked them if I could get up while I was in Mississippi and play the blues. I thought, boy, this is going to be great. I got up there, and I was going to do House of the Rising Sun, and I had the wrong harmonica. I could not figure out why this was not working, but it's third position you have to play on that song because it's in a minor key.
Yeah.
And I was trying to do it on an E harp with an A. A D harp with an A is what you usually play.
Yeah.
But, House of the Rising Sun is on a G harp in A minor.
Yeah, if it's
So, you got to learn all these things slowly, but got to be careful what you're doing. Reggie, do you remember Reggie?
Oh, yeah.
Reggie Loudermilk, what a great name. He was the one that told me there was such thing as a third position.
Yeah, I was explaining to Kim how that worked, because that's how I always know from just playing guitar. Like, if you're playing, your G major is an E minor and things like that, so they kind of go in hand. And that was, once I learned that, because I used to always have that problem with guitar, because I always played in, like, rock bands using fists, and everything was, like, minor scale, like, and jam it out. And then the first time I'm playing with people using, like, open G chords, it's like, oh, yeah, it's in G. And I'm, like, playing minor scale. I was like, this sounds like shit. Like, what am I doing wrong? And someone was like, you're playing a minor scale. Like, oh, that's right. This is a minor pentatonic. Oh, yeah.
You should have paid attention in band a little more.
Well, how do you fix it? And it's like you play the minor third, and that's your, you for your man. Like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Thank you, wise person from the internet.
You bring it down. You want your major to be your third and your minor. And it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, if y'all are listening and you don't understand any of those terms, I didn't understand any of that either. So,
But
Kim
the
went to
internet is
screensaver.
there. You can find
True.
all that wisdom
Yeah.
if you know where to look. But you
yeah.
have to sift through it because a lot of them are stupider than I am.
yeah, that's true.
And there's a lot of advertisements for like PP pills and stuff.
That's important, though.
Do you get those same advertisements, or is it just my algorithm? Please tell me it's not just
I
my
don't have
algorithm.
those Google searches.
Oh, God.
So I don't get that.
Oh, boy. Oh, no.
Apparently, they think I just want to build things. Like,
My cardiologist won't fill that prescription anymore, so I don't get him.
oh my God, we were talking about that the other day, and I couldn't remember what. But anyways, sorry, we're getting off topic. But
You know what I want to know? What made you finally decide to record an album? Because I feel like when I tell someone I think you should like record these songs, I assume they've heard it a million times before and
Right.
they have a reason for not recording. But I'm really glad that you decided to record these songs.
I am too, and we did so much better job, I think, this time. I had recorded one right after I married Gayla, my second wife, the lady I'm married to now, and she had heard me do Indian Pony, and she said, man, you really ought to send that to Shake Russell. He could do that. Oh, baby, I'm doing it.
It's mine.
Don't you believe in me?
I would like Shake to do it now, though, that's for sure. But we went and did it. My cousin helped me out doing it. He does a lot of Christian music on his own and had a studio at his home. And we did it on a friends and family rate, and it kind of shows. It didn't turn out as good as this record. It's called Molotov Pickup. It's also about an automobile disaster, but it's based on a true one. when my son was 5 years old and I got a DWI and my pickup truck burned to the ground on
goodness.
the side of Jackrabbit Road.
oh wow,
Yeah. So that's another story. That's not on this record.
that is a
That's
great
on
title.
the record.
Wow.
Indian Pony's on that record though, but without the intro.
Okay.
And with an Andean flute that my cousin put on it. I think it sounds kind of cool, actually. It was a synthesized Andean flute solo in it,
Very cool.
in place of one of the harmonica solos.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
That's what I like about the album. I mean, it was really like a good community effort. So I know you had like Joel recorded. You had Chris like play some
Yeah.
bass on it, and
Chris played the stand-up bass on most of it. I always loved those.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I like that.
that's
Dr.
a good
Dwight
sound.
came in and did some, some
Really?
electric guitar on it.
Nice.
My buddy Randino came and did a little electric guitar on Terlinga Moon.
Nice. I want to say that the first time that we ever came to the Old Quarter, you guys were playing together. It was
Probably.
open mic night, and y'all were up there goofing off together.
Having fun.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to remember. I feel bad. What's the song we sang on? It's like a big old pile of junk, or
Yeah.
is that right?
Great big pile of trash.
Great big pile of trash. That's it. See, that's why I was like, I didn't want to say anything earlier. So I'm like, I don't know. I'm not going to get it right. And I didn't. But, that's okay. But once I made a mistake, I feel fine now. I feel
Yeah.
good.
Look at you.
Yeah, because, all I care is if people buy it.
Right.
They can call it whatever they want.
Right.
I just love that song because, it's just, there's a more like, thing kind of sums up a lot of the world today. You're like, yep, there it is.
Yeah.
There it is. Like, that's great. And in kind of a whimsical way.
Yeah.
It's like the spoonful of sugar kind of thing. There's a fun way to be like,
Yeah, well,
yeah, you're right. You're right.
There's just really not much you can do about a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
We're going to have to get through it somehow, or, hopefully we'll get through it somehow.
Well, keep writing about it because I'll keep listening.
Well, maybe we can, figure something to do with all that plastic that's floating around out there. I've heard that there are companies working on that.
Yeah.
I hope so.
So yeah, that might work. They can, after they mine the oceans, they can mine our bloodstreams for the rest of it. Because I understand it's in there too now.
Yeah, it just kind of shows up. How'd it get in there? I don't know.
Everything around us is plastic. Even like your aluminum cans are coated in plastic inside.
That's
Wow.
crazy.
It's good stuff. Things last a lot longer now that we got plastic.
Except for humans.
Well,
Yeah, outlast humans.
It's the George Carlin thing. It's what the Earth wanted. It wanted plastic. And it's done with us now.
Right. We were just the vehicle to get it there.
We just shake it off. Like it got what it needed us
Thank
for.
you, humans. You did what I needed you for.
I need plastic. Now you're gone. Stronger now.
They're going to shake us off their back.
So, like I said, I know you're a pretty big part of the Galveston scene. I'll be real. I don't know much of your history as a. Did you grow up in Houston area? Or?
yeah, I grew up in Houston. I was third generation Houstonian, and then my family moved out of the city into Spring Branch, and then the city moved out and grabbed Spring Branch, so I was back in Houston.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, it's one of my favorite songs. What is it? Modest Mouse has that song "Cowboy Dam," where it's like, "I didn't move to the city moved to me."
Yeah.
I liked the city. It's just so darn big now. I like this. That's why we moved into Galveston. I could walk here, ride my bike for sure. I probably couldn't walk anymore this far, but I could when we first moved here still walk this far, It's great being on the east end of Galveston. I just love it. It's still kind of city, but it's that old-fashioned walk-in city.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Especially all the cool old houses on the alphabet streets and stuff. So it's like, you're like, dude, there are so many cool houses around there.
We had one of those for a couple of years, and they're a pain in the neck, especially the ones that have those great big beautiful oak trees growing over. We had 3 or 4 of those in our yard, and it drops stuff all year long.
Oh, yeah.
And tree pollen and all that. They're pretty to drive past and wave at.
Yeah.
The car is just yellow all the time.
And you got the perpetual breeze on the island that makes walking around here not like walking around in Houston.
Yeah, it is a little bit easier for that.
They were talking about that at lunch today, that like something that when I moved to Houston, I forgot about when I grew up here, was just like, there's always like, 10, 15 mile an hour breeze just all the time. So summer was hot, but it wasn't like
Miserable?
stagnant heat. Like when you're in the middle of Houston, it's like there's no wind whatsoever.
I did surveying for a couple of years before I joined the electricians union eventually, and got a job that lasted for a long time. 32 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And then does everyone angry at you now that you play an acoustic guitar and not an electric one?
You're out of the union, bud.
I'll be here all week.
Yeah, they ought to be. I hadn't sent them any money since I retired, so they took me off their list anyway,
He's playing one of them non-electrical guitars. Sell out.
It was a real union, though. We had a Christmas party one year at the hall. They didn't let us come back. But it started off, with a very solemn invocation and ended up with knives coming out.
Oh, my.
Oh, wow.
For real.
It really did.
That's a holiday party right there.
Yeah.
Is that a Helfenstein family Christmas?
Yes, pretty much.
Whoa.
I mean, yeah, honestly, my family doesn't sound early days as a kid. That sounds about par.
That's true.
Yep.
The solemn invocation and all, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, totally.
Oh, boy.
There was somebody, once the drunk relative came up, the invocation started. We're all here tonight. Like, okay, cool. Repeat after me. Like, okay, cool.
Can we eat, please? God.
Gosh.
Kim didn't have that.
Sorry,
kind of-
Kim. We can't all have perfect lives like you did as a child.
I did not have a perfect life.
Whatever.
I guess the good thing
Very
is,
sheltered.
since the community did kind of like, what led to you, I guess, when you moved to Galveston, coming over to the old quarter, man? Kind of like,
Well, my late wife's, she was from here. She was raised here over in the projects, and there were 7 of them, you know. But her little sister and her little brother, one of her younger brothers, he still lives here, but they lived here when I first moved down here. And she told me about the old quarter. She said there was an open mic here, and that Shake Russell was playing here, so we got tickets to come see Shake here, you know, because I had always loved him since back up in Houston.
yeah.
Back in the 70s when I first started seeing him with, golly, all those guys. Michael Mercoulier, was that his name? Gosh, man, that was a great band that they had. Dana and, Mike, I'm pretty sure that was his name. And John, oh gosh, what's that man's name? He got murdered. It was terrible. No, I'm sorry, I got off on a tangent.
okay.
No, that's fine, man.
You'll have to probably get that. But that's when I came to the old quarter. That's how I found out about the old quarter, was, I guess, when we moved here in 2012, I think is when we moved to Galveston. Right after I retired. 32 years of a life sentence, and then I got paroled, you know.
Yep.
Know that feeling, yeah.
Yeah. So, but it was a good deal, really. But then Gayla says, well, let's look at houses, because Kathy and I had a house down on 9th Street, and I told Gayla about that. Our dog, she fell in love with this dog I had back then, whose name was Jack. It was Jack, my dog, you know, like, and anyhow, Jack had been staying with me down on 9th Street after Kathy passed, and he got to run the beach and get all that silt in his hair. He was a schnauzer, and he had never got a haircut. He had these dreads, terrible dreads. And Gayla is a soft touch for dogs anyway. She always loved animals, and Jack would jump up on her lap and, you know, want to lick her face, and she was like, God, I love this dog, but we got to do something about this. She took him to get a haircut, and he fell in love with her. That was the nicest thing anybody ever did for that poor dog. I didn't know dogs cared about that stuff, you know.
And he's like, oh, this is great. I'm fancy now.
I'm prim and proper.
You know, I mean, I grew up thinking it was okay to put a dog on a chain out in the yard and stuff like that.
Everybody else was doing it. So
Oh, yeah, dude. 80s, we didn't know any better.
Yard dog.
Yes, exactly. They like it outside.
Yeah.
They're dogs.
Give them a little igloo the little igloo dog houses everybody had.
They're like an oven and all during the summer.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
He doesn't ever stay in it. I don't know what's wrong with stupid
I
dog.
don't know why he dug a hole under my house.
Oh, my
Stays
God,
underneath the
yes.
house all the time.
God, he's messing up the foundation.
We grow, you know. We grow.
You know, we do learn. We learn. We
learn, we
evolve.
grow.
We
Thank
do.
goodness.
It's not easy.
No, not
So
at
you've
all.
been coming to the old quarter since 2012. When was the first time you decided to get up on stage?
Not long after that,
Yeah.
I started getting up on stage. First couple of times I came up here one night, I thought it was open mic, and I walked in with my guitar and everything, and it was a Robert Coon show. He told me, come on in and stay, but I turned around and left.
Like, oh, you want to be
He's
the dude with
always-
the guitar when you're not playing.
He's always been real nice to me. All these musicians around here have always just been great. Did y'all ever see, God dang it, they were just here the other night with Los...
Well, Harbors Over Highways? Or?
Yeah, Harbors Over Highways.
Yeah, back in
man,
the day.
those guys, especially Kevin and John, have always just been so nice to me, you know. And they're 2 songwriters that I admire them so much. They've both written such great stuff. It's so hard, isn't it? There's so many great songwriters out here in this world, and great presenters and everything else, and you turn on the radio and none of them are on it. I don't know.
Yeah, I think 7-minute story songs are they're not palatable for radio.
I guess.
But man, if I'm sitting in a place like the Old Quarter and somebody busts one of those out, I'm in awe, because I know how long it took to put that all together. And
why isn't Guy Clark on every other song? I just don't understand how any of the stations can justify I know the stuff that comes out of the Bull. I understand why it's the way it is. It's bullshit. They can't help that.
Right.
But the rest of them, I don't know how music has gotten so terrible. I thought we were in bad shape in the disco era, but it's really kind of nice, some of that stuff.
Maybe the Bee Gees weren't so bad. I think it's one of the things, like, you think like Guy Clark, maybe it's a good thing he's not mainstream, because you have to find him. Like, you have to be, it makes it to where you have to discover it, so you feel like you found something. And so then you're like, hey bud, check out this guy I found, like, check it out. And I think that's because if you think of anybody like Hayes Carl, who does he list as one of his, guys? Guy Clark.
And how often does he get played?
Right, exactly. But it's just like, you see people like that are great songwriters, and that they have this connection to those previous people. So there is something about them, but maybe it's a good thing we're not losing that kind of treasure that they are.
I think there's...
because when you start seeing Guy Clark on t-shirts at Target, we've gone too far. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's when we've messed it up.
I'm going to buy one first, though.
Right, true. I'm going to talk shit about it afterwards, because it's probably a good deal.
But I get that, like, being a kid of, like, being in college in the late 90s and stuff, like, when frat kids found Robert Earl Keen, those shows got tough to hear Robert Earl Keen at his shows.
Yeah, dude, Pat Green, the same thing, man.
Yeah.
I'll never forget being in his early 2000s, being in a bar in Nacogdoches and having a beer with Pat Green. Like, fast forward 10 years later, he couldn't even come out of the back green room until he was on stage.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just crazy. And because once the college kids got it, it was like, we're going to get hammered and act stupid because it's red dirt,
Right. People throwing down and getting drunk and fighting at a Robert Earl Keen show, and you're like...
Have you listened to the songs?
Right. Like, you sound like pretty chill.
Like, he's a pretty laid back dude. It's like you're like at a Limp Bizkit concert, bud. Like, dude.
It was just a trip, man. So, yeah. So sometimes I guess there is you kind of want to keep it elite in certain things.
That's true. As soon as you said that, I flashed on when I was still surveying, and our instrument man turned me on to John Prine. I had never heard John Prine. And, Paradise or Sam Stone or that whole album, just like...
Yeah.
How does this happen? And why isn't this all over the radio?
We were talking about that today during the day we recorded this. We did a talk here for Texas Music Office, and we were talking about today. One of the beautiful things about coming here is that it's like you'll hear these people, and a lot of the songs you'll know. You'll be like, I thought I said no covers on the wall, and it's like, well, no, that's because Bruce Robinson may be playing a bunch of Tim McGraw and Dixie Chick songs. That's because he wrote them, and they loved them and they played them. And all these people that come through here, you're like, oh, and Heather Little played a couple of Miranda Lambert songs. It's like, ooh, nope, she wrote those.
Check the liner notes on that one, bud.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like you're going to hear the person who made the song here, and they may not be as big, but truthfully, that's the goal. You got someone who has to deal with celebrity. You get the writer royalties, and they get to deal with celebrity.
Wouldn't that be the dream?
Right, yeah. Just get one of those.
I'm just hoping that Beyonce and Taylor Swift will do a duet with one of my songs.
Dude, that would be killer.
And get it on a Disney movie.
Dude, you're just like, that's a trifecta. What are you talking about, sir?
It'll be like, Tex owns the East End.
Right.
He bought the Pleasure Pit. Man, that's crazy.
Dreams really do come true, kids.
I'd hope his first purchase would be go outside and call the number on the building here.
And just buy it.
Like, I'm going to pick up this whole building and the whole quarter
In
of
the parking lot.
Please. Damn it, the parking lot. Just a sidebar real quick. I came down here to play a show at the Old Quarter.
$15 a person
And
to park in my parking lot.
I'm just trying to drop my stuff off so I'm not carrying all across God's creation. And the parking attendant's like $10. And I looked at him square in the face and I go, no, and walked away. And then I put my stuff up and then I moved my truck around the corner. But I had a moment. I said no more.
I'm not paying you to park.
Right. I'm getting in good trouble today, kids.
Not paying just as much to park as I'm going to pay to get into this show later. No.
Right.
Not doing it.
My name's on the marquee, sir. I'm the talent. Do you know who I am?
Do you know who I am?
Right. I'm the reason you're out here taking $10 to park.
And you know he's not taking $10.
No.
Maybe for the night, poor kid.
I know, poor guy's got to stand out there and get hassled by musicians. You're like,
I know, jerk musicians. I get
It's
it.
okay. Some days you get hurt.
I'm in my Limp Bizkit era.
Oh God.
Anyways, well, at that point, we're hitting about the 40-minute mark. So let's jump into we slightly warned you right before we hit record.
I told him.
We're going to do the question of, we like to hear what people are into. So if no one's never heard, not from the South at all.
Wow.
Not
Try
never.
again, babe.
If no one has heard of any of these things, they can check out. It's always good to expand your horizons. We found a few new things we're into. So we already know that you like to read. I don't know if you listen to any podcasts, but if you listen to anything like that, let us know. So the question's one podcast, one book, and one musical artist that you think people should check out.
Well, I'm going to start listening to this podcast a lot. I
thanks.
promise that. I listen to Otis Gibbs a lot.
yeah.
Yeah, it's the first time he's come up on here, so that's good. Yeah.
I like him. He's so cool the way he just, coaxes people to get started. I'm sure he does a lot of editing too after they're done, huh?
Oh,
to
yeah.
make those things as listenable as they are, but they're great. Things like this are they're going to make the difference for the next generation of people that are interested,
Yeah.
So that's a podcast, I guess.
All right.
Yeah,
A book
thanks for
that-
giving damn.
A book I recently finished is called The Soloist. And I think that there is a movie out that has Robert Downey maybe and Jamie Foxx in it.
Yes. I know what we were talking about.
I hadn't seen the movie yet, but I picked up this book because our grandson is playing the French horn in the Klein Orchestra now. And he's been doing great with it, So he called Grandma and said to help him find a book for us to all read, together, a book about a musician or something. So I found that one, and man, I read it. It is fabulous. It's really more about a homeless person than a musician, though. Mm-hmm. But it's a wonderful book if you want to read a good book. The Soloist is.
Nice.
And my favorite band of all time is always going to be Doug Somm.
God, solid.
Douglas Quintet, whatever
Any iteration.
of Doug
God.
Somm you got.
I'm saying this as a person who loves Willie Nelson and everything, but to me, Doug Somm will always be the greatest musician to ever come out of Texas.
Maybe as
he's
corny, and man, he can stink it up so bad sometimes.
Oh, yeah,
but it's just because all he was listening for is that groove. He just wanted that groove, man.
Yeah.
I'm sure he didn't have many very quiet shows either.
Now, first time I found out about them, it was just like, oh, wow. And it was funny. Once I heard them, I was going back to my grandma's records, and I'm like, oh, man, here's like a thing with like an old, like, best and top hits of like, I think either late 60s, early 70s, like Mendocino was on it. And then I found a record, and I was like, damn. Yeah, that's when they were trying to sell them as a British group, the Sir Douglas Quintet.
I remember that. It's crazy, man.
His first records up in San Antonio were made on Renner Records.
Oh, wow.
I have no connection to them. The man who owned it was not named Renner. I still haven't found out why it was
Oh, wow.
Renner Records.
Weird.
Or how I can get on it.
Right?
Isn't that Renner money?
Well, after Taylor and Beyonce do my record, then
You won't need it.
You can
Yeah,
buy
you
the
probably
naming
won't.
rights
Yeah.
for nothing. And you'll be
Right,
like,
yeah.
I got this. I'm renting records now.
That's great.
That's great. But yeah, man, like I'm a huge Doug Somm fan. And
Yeah, I love Doug's music.
I remember the first time Sam let me listen to him. I was like, he's really good. Like, what else does he do? And then we just started listening to like a mix of Doug Somm, and I was like, oh yeah, I've heard this. I know this song.
yeah, he was one of those people that when I first got turned on, was like She's About Me. I was like, I've heard this song a million times. Like I've heard this song, I've heard that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was like, but man, we always used to cover At the Crossroads, and
Crossroads is just too cool.
yeah, it's a great tune. It's also the good, Dream of the good old days when Texas was this really open-minded place where you could hang out, and you wrote all these songs. All these dudes were doing stuff.
Did we play Continental one at Shoeshine Charlie's, and his son was playing?
Yeah, Shandon was playing outside.
Yeah,
Shandon came in and watched us for a little bit.
He did.
I was like, oh, next song's kids watching
we're
us.
kind of a big deal.
And he liked our post on Instagram afterwards and followed us. So. He
did.
So that was a big deal. I was fired up about that. So,
As we should be.
It's like I love. Like I saw him, man. He played drums with the Meat Puppets for a long time and stuff like that. Like he's a great drummer and musician. So
That's cool.
So that's good. It gave me something else to rant and take over the show about.
Yeah.
It's Tex's fault. You didn't notice he kept asking you questions? He's acting like he's never done this before. He's done this before.
Right. But no, it was funny. So. One of the things that got me too was our buddies from this band, the Bottle Rockets. They did a tribute record for him after he died. He goes, we waited a year for someone in Texas to do it, and they wouldn't. And then Sunvolt just released one. So it's like all these dudes from Missouri are releasing Doug Somm tribute records, and I still don't think there's a Texas one. Like no Texas artist has been like, we're gonna make a Doug Somm record, and it's like, man, it's kind of a bummer that Missouri's up 2-0 on us.
My young buddy here in town, Tyson Webb, was surprised to find out that Doug was the one who said, you got to have a lot of soul. You just can't live in Texas if you don't have a lot of soul. He thought that was a Waylon quote, you know?
Yeah, it's like, nah, man, that was
Doug.
Played pedal steel for Hank Williams at like 9 years old. He's like, it just made sense. I started playing it, sounded cool, and I was like, how can I make this sound like the records? And he figured it out.
Bob Dylan cited him as one of the Sir Douglas Quintet as the best new band in America.
Oh, wow.
See? So I stand by. Texas backing me up. Always when we've basically been playing anybody going to San Antonio, and I'm like, I don't care as far as I'm concerned, the best dude to ever come out of Texas. I'm saying that as there's a lot of amazing Texas songwriters. The dude was most well-rounded, just savant, man. Like that old Austin C. Limits. Like I'm playing guitar, all of a sudden breaking out fiddle, singing and playing fiddle at the same time. You're just like, this guy, like, he looked cool and chill the whole time. Like, what's up, man? I want to feel these beautiful vibrations out there, y'all. I mean, Augie Myers, like, man, just the whole band was just killer.
Yeah, I got to visit with Augie one time at the old Texas Opry House up in Houston. He was down in the pool room in the back there.
And I want to see Grayson T. Caps was doing some shows with him playing, and Augie was playing like organ stuff with him. It was like, oh, man. Yeah, that was a hell of a band, man. Texas Tornadoes.
Oh, yeah. It even got better and better, didn't it?
Yeah, like Flacco Jimenez.
Flacco. I never heard of Flacco. I mean, I knew who Freddie was, but Flacco was like gobsmacked me, just like, wow, what the hell? Accordions are cool.
They're not just for polkas.
He's like, oh, man, like, this is just crazy. Like, yeah, man, that was it, man. That was one of my favorites. All right, man, at this point, we're going to go to always the final. Is there anything we missed? Anything you want to let us know? Give us some information. When's the record coming out? Where is it available?
The record will be released here in 3 days, right?
Yes.
On Saturday night, the record will be released, but you can get one ahead of time if you come to my house, but I'm not going to give you the address.
Okay, just
but
come to the show.
If you find it and come there and ask nice, I'll sell you one.
Can we have cookies and punch on the porch?
If you bring them.
We're doing that then.
All right.
BYOC.
Bring your own cookies.
But yeah, so that's it, man. May 17th. Get on the Old Quarter website, pick up a ticket. They're available now.
Let's settle it out, guys.
Come out and support it, man. It's always a great night. Record releases here, always good. You'll see a who's who of Galveston, because Tex, one of those people, man, everybody does like, one of the people that's one of the respected members of our community, man. So we hope you come out and support. All right.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you heard a sneak peek of this album at the top of our podcast, and you're going to hear another one at the end. So come on out and hear him play them live.
All right. On that note,
bye.
All right, y'all, that does it for this episode of Music in the Minor League. We hope you really enjoyed listening. Remember, tell your friends if you dig the episode. Make sure you mark your calendar for this Saturday, May 17th, to come out to a 44 and 88 album release party. Tex would love to see you. We'd love to see you. The whole scene will be there. Come out and meet a lot of the people you've been hearing on the podcast. Tickets are available at oldquarteracousticcafe.com, or you can pick them up at the door. On that note, we'll see you in 2 weeks. And we're going to close out with a song that we're going to sing with Tex this coming weekend. This song's called Big Old Pile of Trash. See you next time. Later.
Yodelady, yodelody, yodeloo. There's a great big pile of trash out there floating around in the middle of the sea. But whales didn't make it, and sharks didn't make it. It was people just like you and me. But we really didn't mean to make a great big mess. We were just too lazy to care. And one little bit shouldn't matter much at all. Now there's a big pile of trash out there. Yodel-lady, yodel-lody, yodel-loo. Plastic bottles and plastic bags, and the plastic bottles and bags come wrapped in little plastic cards full of make-believe money that we're dying to defend. There's a great big pile of trash out there. Keeps getting bigger every day. 'Cause nobody wants to be the chump cleaned up a mess somebody else made. So we get layers and layers and liars and lawyers to explain why it wouldn't be fair. Meanwhile, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger, that big pile of trash out there. Yodel-lady, yodel-lody, yodel-loo. Plastic bottles and plastic bags, and the plastic bottles and bags comes wrapped in little plastic cards full of make-believe money that we're dying to defend. Oh, sing it again. Plastic bottles and plastic bags, and the plastic bottles and bags comes wrapped in little plastic cards full of make-believe money that we're dying to defend. There's a great big pile of trash out there. Keeps getting bigger every day. 'Cause nobody wants to be the chump that cleaned up a mess somebody else made. So we get layers and layers and liars and lawyers to explain why it wouldn't be fair. Meanwhile, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger, that big pile of trash out there. And there's a big pile of trash out there. Yodel-lady, yodel.